Krishna Byre Gowda is in conversation with the South First. So welcome to South First.
Thank you.
Ever since you have taken charge as the revenue minister, you are not sitting idle. As far as I know, you have visited at least 18 districts and conducted review meetings, and importantly, you have given surprise visits to the Tahsildar office, Nada Kacheris, and you have exposed rot in your own department. So how do you see what all observations have you made? And there is also a popular belief that it is one of the corrupt department. So what all measures have you taken as well to address these issues?
See, definitely our department, which is the revenue department, deals with mostly land resource management, meaning land title, land transactions, survey related issues. We also deal with various social security pensions, for example, old age pensions, widow pensions, handicap pensions. And we also, on behalf of the government, do these various certificates, caste, income, so on and so forth. And we deal with the registrations department also. So because of the spread of our activities, we have huge daily interactions with people. So by virtue of that, we have a large impact on the day-to-day lives of people. They come to the revenue department for a gamut of their issues. So because we are the default department for the government, here we are also called the mother department in administrative parlance. So for all these reasons, since we have a huge bearing on the lives of the people, there are also that many grievances people have with the functioning of our department. That there is delay in processing people's issues. Delay leads to exploitation of various sorts, and that there is arbitrariness in our decision making, that sometimes the decisions are not based on facts and law, but are based on personal interests. And due to these there is a lot of irritation amongst the people vis-a-vis the functioning of our department. But while that is true, but we must also understand that in defense of my department, because we need to be balanced in assessing, 70% of the work does get done in a timely manner and by and large in a judicious manner. But delay and arbitrariness set in about 30% of the cases or 25% of the cases. But that 25-30% tends to generate a lot of difficulty for the people and hence that irritation. So cumulatively, yes, people do have rather not a very pleasant experience. That 25-30% of the people whose work gets done. But on one side, there is, I do not deny the malfunctioning within our department, but it is also true that historically these arbitrariness arise because of various records that have gone missing over the years, or people are not maintaining their own records properly. So this opens up scope for subject-based decision making. Also, there is a lot of fraud perpetrated by the people in collusion with our officers. So when you are trying to weed out fraud, you need to be more judicious, and which means that any application submitted needs to be verified If all the records are in place, I can ensure that timely decisions are made.
Yes.
But when records are missing, when the people do not have records and corollary records are missing in our own record room, so then of course it's not easy to make a decision, because sometimes the land is a very valuable property, and sometimes it involves government land. So if we are very very hasty in our decision making, it can go against the public interest also. But nevertheless, I can't deny what you have said, that there is a lot of rot, a significant portion, whether 70-30 or it is anybody's individual assessment. But we need to set it right, and that's what I've started on in the last 4 or 5 months since I took over this department. We are trying to streamline things. We are trying to bring processes into the administration, and we are trying to overcome the legacy tendencies, and we are also trying to overcome inadequate attention on core departmental processes over the last 10-20 years. There has been a lot of neglect in the core revenue functionalities. So, in as expeditious manner as possible, we are trying to set right all these historical lacunae, historical failures, historical negligence over the last 20-30 years, and we are trying to do it in a very fast-track manner, and we are also trying to mobilize our department to grapple with these public issues and grievances. So we are working on all fronts so that there is improvement in the functioning of our department, that we bring in the necessary reforms to ultimately deliver good governance, better governance to people from our department. So we are on the job.
Sir, when I spoke to revenue officials, they highlighted, and even you highlighted, that there were over 37,650 revenue court cases pending in AC, DC, and Tahsildar courts. So, why these thousands of cases were pending, and how you are streamlining to dispose them at the earliest possible?
If you take, we have 3 levels of revenue courts. One is the Tehsildar, next is the Assistant Commissioner. In some states they are called Subdivisional Magistrates, SDM. And at the top level we have the District Commissioner, Deputy Commissioner or Collector. So we have 3 levels of court cases. To illustrate the point, if I just take the AC, Assistant Commissioner or the Subdivisional Magistrate level, there were close to 60,000 cases pending, which were more than 1 year old. An Assistant Commissioner has to dispose a case within 6 months. 6 months is the outer limit. However, 60,000 cases were pending for more than 1 year, out of which the lion's share of 32,787 cases were pending for more than 5 years. Meaning 7, 8, 10, 12 years. So to re-emphasize the point, 6 month is the time limit set by the law, whereas ACs have been sitting on 32,787 cases for more than 5 years, not disposed. So at every level, SL level, AC level, DC level, we have now segregated all these historical cases pending. Why are they pending is your question. Because in the past, revenue ministers, revenue people at the helm of affairs didn't pay attention to the basic job of the revenue department, the core activities of the revenue department. They were just, paying more attention to public demonstrations of governance, like, going and staying in a village. instead of actually delivering governance where it matters, getting the department to function. And there are 30,000 odd revenue villages in Karnataka. I can't go to every village and make sure that things work. I need to make my system work. I need to make my department work. I need to make the government work in every corner of the state. Instead of doing that, in the past, most of the revenue ministers have neglected these activities. So as a result, we have tens of thousands of cases pending for more than their due period, more than 1 year. So what have we done about it? Now we have catalogued all these cases, we have indexed them time-wise, and we have set disposal timelines. Every month, how many of the past legacy cases will be disposed. So we have set the matrix, a timeline matrix. So we have given them deadlines to dispose these cases. Every month we monitor them, every 15 days we monitor them, both at the tehsil level, AC level and DC level. And now we are catching up, we are cleaning up the mess of pendency created over years and over decades by a focused drive and by mobilizing the administration towards disposing of this pendency. So, as I said, to again give an example to illustrate just one point of what we have done. If I were to give you just one example, as I said, 32,787 cases were pending for more than 5 years at the AC levels. So now that pendency in the matter of 4 months has been brought down to about 8,500, meaning 2/3 of the 5-year plus pendency has been cleared in a matter of 4 months. Right? So we have cleared about more than 23,000 cases which were pending for more than 5 years, 8-10 years, and we have cleared them in a matter of 4 months now. So similar target I have given, this was as of end of November.
Yes.
Similarly, I have given them a target by the end of December, Tehsildar level, there should be no case pending for more than 3 months at the Tehsildar level. And by end of February, I have given a deadline to all ACs that no case should be pending for more than 6 months at the AC level. February is the deadline. And also at the DC level, I have told them that by end of March, there should be no case pending at the DC level for more than 6 months. And we monitor them. It's not that I give a deadline and leave it there. We monitor them on a 15-day basis. We have every tehsil, we have every subdivision, we have every district in a spreadsheet. We look at their case disposal and we drive it from the top. So by mobilizing our own rank and file, we are able to catch up with all these historical legacy issues which are plaguing the people. Why do people complain? If the case is pending for more than 5 years, people are obviously going to complain that our work is not getting done. So at one time we want to clear them and make sure that at the tehsil level, no case is not disposed for more than 3 months, beyond 3 months. And at the AC and DC level, we will make sure that cases are disposed maximum outer limit of within 6 months.
Yes.
So we are putting in place processes, we are focusing on the core administrative responsibilities of the revenue department, putting the focus back on the core activity, and we are making sure that it is happening across the state, not some one village where I will go do some, a demonstrative governance exercise like visiting the village and doing a ministerial darbar there. It is good for show and tell, but that doesn't really fix the rot you are talking about. The rot can be set right only by focusing on governance, on administration, streamlining it, motivating and mobilizing our rank and file to deliver justice to people.
Sir, and as you promised, as Congress promised, 4 of the 5 guarantees have been implemented. But there are a lot of questions being raised since these guarantees have been launched. The first one is about, has the government ignored other schemes and programs to fund these guarantees? And at the same time, how has the government, how do you respond to the financial, fiscal prudence and financial burden?
See, worldwide there is a economic slowdown across many countries, and in our country, while the growth rate may be slightly better, but doesn't mean that our economy is very robust. There is a lot of counter trends in the economy, and one way to revive economy is to put money in the hands of the people who really badly need the money. Why? Because this is called demand side economics, meaning if you put money in the hands of the people who are going to spend it immediately, they will create demand for goods and services in the market. And once goods and services demand is there, that will drive the economy. And instead of trickling down from the top, you are actually putting money at the hands of the people at the bottom and driving the economic growth from the bottom up. Because if people cannot consume goods and services, then there is no demand for goods and services. The economy will slump into a further recession. So what we are doing is to re-energize the economy by supporting people at the bottom of the pyramid, by putting money in their hands, so that, because these people in whose hands we are putting money, they have no space, they can't afford to save that money. If you provide money to the top, people at the top, they are going to go deposit it in some Swiss bank or some other bank, and that doesn't help the economy. On the other hand, if you put money in the hands of the people who are struggling to meet their month-to-month requirement, they are going to go out and spend that money on some goods or service. That one activity leads to 5 other activities. So for example, if I put money in the hands of a poor person, 1 rupee, that converts into 5 rupees, because the rotation happens from one person to the other. So the impact of that money is 5 times on the economy. So as a result, the national, if you're talking about the impact on economy and on the finances, one measure of how the economy is doing and how the state is performing is the revenue we are generating. So if I look at GST collections in Karnataka, compare that with the national average, nationally the GST collection is growing at about 15%. Karnataka is growing at 19%. So we are far above the national average in GST generation. And GST, mind you, is a consumption-based tax. It is not a theoretical tax. It is not an income tax. It's a consumption-based tax, meaning it is a direct reflection of the economic activity that is going on in the state. And if we are growing at far above the national average, and if our GST growth rate amongst the major states is the second highest in the whole country, or almost at the high top, then that is a reflection that our economy is doing well. So it is doing well thanks to the guarantees. We are putting money in the hands of the people. Those people are spending that money in the economy, and that is keeping our economy in a relatively healthy shape. So that guarantees are working and they are leading to better economic activity in Karnataka, and that is reflected in our tax revenues also, which is one of the highest in the country. So, all these, it is a lot of this talk of, other, what is development? Ultimately, people's welfare is development. People's welfare is development. In your view, if development is only building flyovers and, highways, sorry, that is a lopsided view of development. Human development is the real development. And today people are suffering at the bottom. They are suffering because prices of essential commodities have doubled, tripled, quadrupled in our society. Prices of fuel, which used to be around 60-65 rupees, have now gone to 100 to 110 rupees. And fuel is consumed by every normal person, every ordinary person. So the impact of fuel hike on a working class person is far higher than it is impact on the middle class or upper class person. So also, earlier there was no GST or these taxes on many of why the fuel prices have gone up, because the central government has increased taxes on petrol and diesel. These are, commodities consumed, essential commodities consumed by the majority of the people. At the same time, they have reduced the income tax on the top. Corporate income tax used to be around 30% before this government, central government came. Now over a period of time, they've reduced it to about 22% and then further to 16% in some cases. So they have reduced the taxes on the rich and passed on those tax burden to the common working people. So you have imposed on them far additional taxes that didn't exist earlier. So the money is now getting generated from the working class of this country. So as a result, income tax, direct taxes, which used to generate about 55% of the total tax in this country, came down to about 45% in 22, in the year 22. And the rest of the people who are paying 45% of the tax earlier, their share has gone up to 55%. So tax burden has fallen more heavily on the common people in this country. So what we are doing is, so we are now extracting more money from the working class than earlier. So through these guarantees, we are putting some of that money back in their hands, so that they are struggling to make their ends meet, so that they can live a better life. And this somehow cannot be tolerated by the middle class and the upper, tier of our society. So there is this talk of all this, very unfair and unscientific discussion on the welfare programs that our government is doing. But if you look at the tax collections as a reflection of the state of the economy, we are doing far better than most economies in the country.
Sir, ever since Congress has come to power under the leadership of Siddaramaiah sir in the Karnataka, the opposition is making allegations of corruption in transfer. Why there is a lot of suspicion about it, sir?
There's issues of allegations are always been there, and they continue to be there. Some of it is mere allegation. There may be some truth in some of the allegations, but we need to be focused on where things are going wrong. But a simple exercise of hit and run or making false allegations does not really solve the real problem. So if the allegations are very pointed, we can take corrective measures. Instead, if it becomes just an exercise of political mudslinging, then no benefit will come out of it. So we are committed to better governance, to good governance, And that is what the Chief Minister has set the task for us, and we are focused on that. And if there is any wrongdoing anywhere, we are open to correcting it and moving forward so that we can deliver better governance to people.
So in terms of GST collection, Karnataka is doing pretty well. But Union Finance Minister on earlier this week, last week, she made a statement that there are no dues to Karnataka from the Union government. Do you agree with that?
So we are still owed about 1,140 crores of compensation. This compensation should have been paid last year itself. There was about 2,233 crores pending, out of which I raised this issue some months ago, and subsequently about 1,190 crores have been released, but we are still owed about 1,140 crores. And the response of Union government was that they need audited accounts from the Accountant General. Karnataka's audited statements were submitted by the Karnataka's Auditor General way back in the month of August. Now, once we have submitted our audited statement, automatically that money should have been released. And even as of date, 1,140 crores are still owed to us as compensation. This is compensation up until last year. So this compensation is pending for more than 1 year. Secondly, they have adjusted IGST settlement amount to Karnataka. Government of India says that there is a shortfall in the IGST account, which has been subsequently adjusted for all states. Now, there is no explanation of why the shortfall did arise, and the mechanism of calculation, or no advance notice either. Without an advance notice, if you cut 800 crores in a month from us, we need to be prepared for this. So there is no exchange of information and proper notice for us, and sharing of the work calculation of this IGST and the reasons behind it. So in an absence of such clarity, suddenly without notice, you deduct 800 crores, it is going to affect our financial situation. So that has happened this month. Third, Karnataka is undergoing drought, and we have submitted a memorandum to Union government for a relief of about 18,000 crores, and that decision is still pending with Government of India. I have met officers in Government of India and also the Honorable Minister for Finance in the Union government, and requested them to take an early decision, because relief should be provided in time of distress, and people are in a state of distress in Karnataka, farmers especially. So we need to provide immediate relief, and Government of India needs to take a decision on this early. So this matter is pending with the Government of India for a decision and release of the money. So all these issues are indeed pending with Government of India, and we hope they will resolve them at the earliest.
So coming to the 16th Finance Commission, what are your expectations and worries? Because we as a state have consistently seen a drop in devolution. So how do you look at the 16th Finance Commission? Have you spoken regarding this with the Union Finance Ministers last week?
We are very concerned with what may happen during the 16th Finance Commission. During the 15th Finance Commission, we saw a cut of about 25% in devolution of taxes to Karnataka. And that 25% converts to almost about 20,000 crores per year.
It's a huge amount.
It's a huge amount, 15 to 20,000 crores every year.
Yes.
And add to that the loss of GST compensation, which also used to be in the range of 20,000 crores. So these both revenues, these are not in our hands. These are either in the hands of the Finance Commission or in the GST matters. These two alone cost us about 40,000 crores per year. So this loss of 40,000 crores has really tied the hands of Karnataka in leading the development of the state and also in taking care of its people's needs. So 40,000 crores per year loss is a loss that any state cannot absorb, and that is the loss we have suffered, and primarily on account of the Finance Commission, 15th Finance Commission. They were very unfair to the needs of the Karnataka, and I believe, in my view, they were very injudicious in assessing the needs of Karnataka. The cut from the 14th Finance Commission to 15th Finance Commission was 25%. It was a brutal cut imposed on us. And we have to now see what the 16th Finance Commission is going to do. So hence we are quite anxious with now the 16th Finance Commission being set up. And to top of all, the 15th Finance Commission made two recommendations of special grants for Karnataka. One was for 5,495 crores, which also Government of India has not released to Karnataka. This was a recommendation of the Finance Commission, not honored by the Government of India, which is very rare, never happens. That was for 5,495 crores. Then they made another recommendation for Bangalore of about 6,000 crores, which also Government of India has not honored and released that money to us. So together, about 11,495 crores that were recommended by the Finance Commission for Karnataka have not been given to Karnataka. Government of India has withheld this amount and further, caused injury to already the damage caused by the Finance Commission. So both fronts, by the Finance Commission and Government of India together, have set us back significantly. Now, we will try our best to convince Finance Commission to restore our share in the tax devolution that existed in the 15th Finance Commission period. Otherwise, Karnataka's financial situation will become increasingly precarious if the 15th Finance Commission position is not restored. The 14th Finance Commission period position is not restored. So our efforts are going to be in that direction to convince this current 16th Finance Commission to restore the Karnataka's share in the tax devolution to the level that existed in the 14th Finance Commission. We'll make all our efforts. I hope they will be receptive. Last time, for your information, in the 15th Finance Commission, there was not a single representative in the Finance Commission from any of the southern states. Zero. Southern states are the engine of growth in the country. Right? Karnataka and Tamil Nadu are second and third highest taxpayers in the country. Kerala leads in Human Development Index in the whole country. The state of Telangana, after Karnataka, is the next IT and technology power hub in all of Asia. So despite all this, there was not a single representative from any of the southern states in the Finance Commission, 15th Finance Commission. That was, I am at a loss to understand that between the states of Karnataka, Andhra, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, you could not find one person of eminence to be a member of the Finance Commission. I cannot accept this.
Do you think it's intentional, sir?
I can only come to the conclusion that this was a deliberate exclusion of voices from the South India. I cannot see any other reason. Okay, not from Karnataka, not from Andhra. You can't find anybody in Tamil Nadu, you can't find anybody in Kerala, you can't find anybody in Telangana. There is not a single voice from the south of India in one of the most important decision-making bodies, which is the Finance Commission, which will decide the allocation of tax revenues across all states, and all of their representatives are from probably northern India or rest of India, not a single one from the south, which contributes the highest revenue to the whole of the country. And you don't have a single person who's sitting there to decide how that money is shared. So what else is likely to happen? Only injustice will flow from such a body where your voice is not even heard. So there was an injustice in the composition of the 15th Finance Commission. There was an injustice also in the conditionalities set for the 15th Finance Commission, because they said the population ratio also, they made sure that injustice is done to southern states, because all the southern states have been very conscious in carrying out population management over the last 50 years, starting from 1970. So we have managed to maintain a very healthy population ratio increase, whereas the rest of some of the other states in the union were not so, didn't pay attention to the population management, and this was used to penalize the states which controlled the population, like the southern states. Yes. And the states which did not pay attention to population control were rewarded in the 15th Finance Commission. This didn't happen in any of the previous Finance Commission. From 1970 to 2020, every Finance Commission made sure that states which controlled their population were not penalized for it, and states which did control the population were not rewarded for it. But that's exactly what, under the BJP government, they reset the rules of the game, and they penalized the states which controlled population and rewarded the states which didn't control population. So all these injustices were done in the 15th Finance Commission, and we were at Karnataka was probably top of the hit list in the decision making of the 15th Finance Commission. We hope some of those injustices will be rectified in the 16th Finance Commission.
Sir, when you were in opposition, Congress vehemently opposed amendments to the Karnataka Land Reforms Act, Cow Slaughter Bill, and Cattle Slaughter Bill, and APMC Act. Does your government intend to reverse it, sir?
Those respective departments are deliberating on these issues. I don't like to speak on behalf of another department. It is up to their departments to take their calls. But I'm sure those departments are deliberating on these issues, and they will take appropriate decision.
Thank you so much for joining this out first, sir.
Thank you.
expressing apprehensions about 15th Finance Commission and hoping that it would be addressed in the 16th Finance Commission. Revenue Minister throws light about the measures he's being taken to resolve the rot in his in the department, and he spoke various issues as well. And I thank you for joining South First.